Yo, what's up, gents? We're switching it up today. We're heading back to Copa Club on the canal. Really excited for this one. For those of you that are constant vlog watchers will know that I'm on a bit of a downswing. So we're switching it up today, seeing what we can do. And spoiler alert, there are some massive pots. The very last hand of the day I'm about to rack up, and I am all in on the flop for a $1,000 pot. That could change everything if we win it.
Holy shit.
Also, I get the question all the time. Are you a professional poker player? Are you planning to do that? Is that the goal? I will answer all those super fun questions at the end of the vlog, but for now, let's get into another session at the Copa Club. I walk in and I get $400 worth of chips. For those of you that watched the first vlog at Copa, they changed the 1-2 max to 500. I buy in for 4, and we get involved basically immediately. We're at a brand new table, and like the third hand in, I see pocket queens under the gun. And fellas, I'm doing it again. I'm telling you, these Texas games are super aggressive. So I'm planning on limp re-raising. It gets to the small blind. He calls, and then the big blind just checks his option. We're going multi-way with queens out of position to most people after I could have raised. Not ideal. But what is ideal is the flop is queen 8-6 rainbow. We flop the nuts. Even better, the small blind leads in everybody for $20. This is the guy I got to know a lot during the session. Really nice guy, but I've never played with him. But I've seen him at the fort playing those huge 1-3 games, so I know he's a player that plays a lot bigger than the game I'm at. So he could have nothing, and I have 2 of the queens, so he probably does have not much. I put in the call, and the +2 calls as well. The turn is the king of spades. That doesn't hurt at all. Now the small blind continues for $75. Does he actually have a set or something here? I think he probably has a draw of some sort, like 7-9, 7-5, but I don't think there's enough in the pot to raise. I think it's fine to just smooth call a 75, so that's what I do. The +2 folds, and we're off to a river of the king of diamonds. We boat up, and now he jams. I was kind of in shock. I was like, did he just go all in? The dude was like, yeah, he just went all in. So I snap call. He says you're good. I didn't see what he had, but when he folded, I could see like a 9, so I do think he had some sort of straight draw. And we double up immediately. After about one hand, we have $825 in our stack. A few hands later, we're in the cutoff with king queen. I pop it up to $15 and only get a call from the +2. To a flop of 3, 5, 9 with 2 clubs, so not ideal. I see bet for $20 and he calls. The turn is the jack of spades, another horrible card. He checks to me, and I don't think there's much point to betting here. I check as well. The river is the king of diamonds. He checks to me again. This time I bet out for $25 and he folds. So we're 2 for 2 on the day. Next time we look down at pocket aces from the button. This table, as I thought it would be, is playing really aggressively. The guy that bluffed us in the first hand has been 3-betting a ton. There's been a lot of other action players. So I anticipate a open in front of me, but I don't get one. So I open at $15 and get 3 callers from the small blind, +1 and low jack. So not ideal. The flop is decent. It's king 10-4 with 2 clubs. It checks to me in flow, and there's just a ton of stuff here. Kings, clubs, so I bet out for $25, but everybody folds. You hate to see it. For this next hand, I would appreciate y'all's opinion on if you think I got bluffed or not. I pick up king 10 of spades in the hijack and pop it up to $15, only at a call from the button, which is a guy I recognize from other rooms, but I don't remember what games he was playing. I at least know he plays a lot. I think he is someone that plays bigger games, so my thought process with people like that is that they're more capable when they play smaller games. I don't know. I feel like when people play down, they splash around a little bit. Maybe that's just me. To a flop of 5, 9, 8 with 2 spades. We flop a flush draw and 2 overs. That's pretty good. I think c-betting here is worth it to get folds from ace high, just a bunch of hands that could hit a pair on the turn. So I c-bet for $20, and he calls. The turn is the 7 of diamonds. This is not a great card for me. Obviously, my range does not include a lot of 6s, so I check. And he checks as well. The river gets us there, kind of. It's the king of diamonds. Now this feels kind of weird. I think a bet is probably in order, even though there's a one-liner, just because I don't think he's checking a lot of 6s back, because there's a lot of bad cards like a 10. A jack would then have a straight, or a flush could complete. So I think a bet here is appropriate sometimes, but it's not the worst thing, and there's a one-liner to check. So I check, and he bets out for $80. My antennas immediately stick up because this seems like a really big bet, and I assumed he would have bet a 6 on the turn. But the problem is I have the flush draw, so he's probably weighted more towards value, but I just don't understand him checking the turn and then betting this size for value. So it did take me a good solid second. I basically told the table that I got there, but not really. I was hoping for a spade, obviously, so this is a really weird spot. I end up just laying it down, and later on, this guy did move to the new 1-3 game that opened, so he is a player that plays up and maybe splashes around. What do y'all think? Did I just get bluffed? I will admit this next hand is not a good one. Sometimes I just get a little bored. We've been card dead for a bit. Gosh, maybe like 1, 2, maybe even 3 hands, and I've had enough. So I raise the good old 8-9 offsuit up to $12 and get calls from the low jack and the button. Not recommended by any means. But the flop comes king, queen, 7 with 2 spades. I learned my lesson and check, and it checks around. The turn is the ace of spades. And look, this hits my range more per se. Everyone checked on the flop. I bet out for $20, and only the low jack calls. The river is the 9 of spades. I've actually been thinking about incorporating more cheap bluffs into my game, and this one I think is a really good spot. Should we be in this spot in the first place? No. But there's 4 spades on the board. In theory, I'm more likely to have the queen of spades, but my thought process was more of, if he doesn't have a big spade, this is not going to be fun to call. He could have had like a straight draw or a king, a queen, maybe picked up an ace. So I bet out for $40 trying to get folds from everything that's not a big spade. You guys ever just like, you're sitting there and when you make a bet and you know you're about to get raised, the moment I placed the bet, I just caught the vibe. He did not immediately fold. He starts shuffling his chips. He's talking about something and he raises to 100. Obviously, I have nothing here. I just laugh it off and fold. We are not laughing, though, because we just punted $72, more of me than we, and punting on a downswing, not recommended. And then get a little more standard as we open ace-jack to $15 and get calls from the small blind and the hijack. A flop of ace-6 queen with 2 spades. Top pair is usually a good thing, so when it checks to me, I continue for $20, and they both call. So still 3 ways to a turn, hoping for no spade, no big card that really connects the board. How about the 10 of clubs? Small blind checks to me, and I know it's pretty hard for us to be beat a lot of the time. I mean, ace-10, ace-queen are really it. There are some 2 pairs. There are a ton of draws, so I couldn't fault you for going for a bet here. But in the moment, I want to play a little bit of defense, and I check. The hijack does no such thing. He bets out for $75. The small blind folds, and when it gets back on me, out of position here, I think this is going to be really awkward to play on almost any river. If I call here, do I think he's going to give up if he's bluffing and I check on the river? I'm not really sure. There's a lot of hands that beat us already, and then the hands that don't have some equity against us. So I think you could go either way, but this time I put in the fold. And he shows pocket 6s, so he flopped a set. Nice guy, glad he showed, and we got confirmation that we actually made a good play. We've been here for a couple hours. We have cooled off our hot start, but are still up. I look down at pocket 8s from the big blind. The hijack opens to 15, and then the cutoff immediately on his left 3 bets to $50. And when it gets to me with pocket 8s, this is kind of weird here, because if I call and the hijack raises, it's going to really suck. And do I really want a flat call here, out of position, trying to flop a set? That's not the worst thing. I do enjoy doing that, actually. But I think this is a rare moment for a 4-bet semi-bluff of sorts. The cutoff is the guy from the pocket queen's hand. He's been 3-betting a ton, so he doesn't just have to have aces, kings here. He could have a lot of marginal hands from the cutoff here. I think a 4-bet is in order. I 4-bet to 150 going after the dead money. The hijack quickly folds, which is great because I was more worried about him having a big hand than the cutoff. And the cutoff goes into the tank. I don't get the vibe that I got earlier from the other guy. He starts talking about how he doesn't think we are deep enough to make this a good call. And he folds. We get it through with maybe the best hand, but really happy to pick up a bunch of dead money pre-flop. I then open king, queen of spades to $15 and get 3 calls to a flop of ace, 8, 4 with 2 spades. When it checks to me, I think you could go either way here. We have equity against everything, basically. But against 3 other people, I think a check is probably the best move. So I do the opposite, per usual. I bet out for $40. And the guy immediately on my left, the guy that raised us to $100, I get the same vibe. I'm like, dude, again, he's got like 240 in his stack. And the only reason I know that is because he goes all in. It folds to me. And I really wanted to make the call, but I know we're not getting the right odds. So eventually, I lay it down. This can't be ace-king, right? He's not shipping it with ace-king. I think he has to have a set or 2 pair because we have the highest flush draw available, so he has to have some sort of value. I fold, and he shows ace, 4 of diamonds, so our 4 of spade out was dead. Happy with the fold. We run a couple bluffs that do not work, and then we get ace, deuce of diamonds from the button. Thursday open at $20, a bunch of calls. I put in the call to a flop of 3, 4, 5 on the button. How about that? But sadly, it checked to me. There's a flush draw available. There's a lot of bad cards. A 6. I don't want to deal with any of that. And the pot's already big, so I bet out for $50. And sadly, everybody folds. This next hand is the one I was teasing at the beginning of the vlog. The wildest hand I've played at Copa, 100%. I look down at pocket fours, and we've got about $600 in our stack to start the hand. So up $200, ups up a little bit at the moment. I pop it up to $12 and get 3 callers. It gets to the button straddle, who has ultimate last action here at Copa. He gets act after everyone, no matter what. He 3-bets me to $50. This guy has been here since the table opened, hasn't been getting very out of line. So when it gets to me, I don't really want to fold a pair here when we're both deep. He's about $550, so he's a little less than me to stack. I put in the call, and everyone else folds to a flop of 4-7-6 with 2 diamonds. I've showed many a bluffs here already at this table. My rep is that I'm capable. I check to him, and he bets for $85. This is a really dynamic board, and as I said, I've showed some bluffs already. So I think it's a good moment to raise here. I raise to 200, and then this happens.
All in and out.
Call.
Call three.
I have a set.
No more action, gentlemen.
Holy shit.
Yep, that hurt. I really thought we just needed to avoid a queen, king, or ace for a bigger set. Did not put him on pocket tens. When I saw the 9, I thought I was good. I don't know about you guys, but those are the hands that hurt the most. When you see a run out, you're pretty damn sure you're good, but you're not. Really sucks to lose that hand. We would have went up about $800 if we would have won there, and it was almost hitting my 3-hour mark, so it was basically the end of the session. I had like $40 left, so I covered him a little bit before the all-in happened, but obviously we didn't get anything going from there. So we were in for 400, out for 0. You hate to see it. I don't think we played too horrible this session. The 8-9 hand was a little punty, but yeah, that is just a really unfortunate run out. And now we get to the question I'm sure some of you have been waiting for. For those of you that are constant vlog watchers are probably thinking, God, please tell me you don't play full-time. I don't. I just love the game, so I play a lot. Do I have plans to play full-time in the future? No. That last hand shows you exactly what I'm talking about. The variance in poker can be brutal. I think I could really lock in if it was all I was doing in life, but it would be just so difficult. I don't play full-time. I don't plan to play full-time, but it is a hobby that I love a lot. That's why I play so much. That's why I post the vlogs. It's something I really enjoy doing. Copa is a really great room. I have a session coming up here in a few weeks. That is the session I'm going to be most proud of, I hope. It's not filmed yet, but I've got something really cool planned with them. So it's going to be really cool upcoming in the future. So be on the lookout for that. As always, if you guys drop a sub, leave a like, helps the channel so much. I'm Chris, and I'm out.